Hey guys, my name is Hannah and I would say let's have some fun today. I really want to do a little recap of the palettes I got this year. There are some palettes that you didn't know about and the most palettes you know about. But I wanted that we are all on the same page and I want that you know a little bit more of my thoughts about those palettes that I got and what I think now about them. And if anything has changed of those thoughts until now. So if it sounds good and interesting to you, then stay tuned and I would say let's get started. So to be clear again, those are palettes I got this year and this is a little recap of the palettes I got this year. So the palettes I got around Christmas and anything like that I won't include in here, but I maybe will do because I think the palettes I got around Christmas are mostly luxury palettes and I really want to do a ranking of my most recent luxury palettes that I've got. And I think, to be quite honest, I think I started around Christmas with my luxury journey. Beforehand, I didn't really had that many luxury palettes in my collection. So this is also another video I really want to film to rank them and to tell you about my thoughts about my luxury palettes I have. But right now we will focus on palettes I recently got and there will be quite some luxury palettes in there. So yeah, let's get started with the first one. I will try to show them in the order to you that I've got them for this year. So around January, around February, and on and on. The first one would be my Dior Birds of Feather palette. It's the Nightbird one I've got right here. And yeah, what I think now about it, you can see I used this one quite a bit and I really love this formula. I had to get a little bit more used to it. Wait, let me get a little bit more to the side so I can insert some pictures for you right here of those palettes. Yeah, I really think there was a learning curve for me with this palette. At first I liked it right away, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't that wowed by it at the beginning, I think. And now I really love it. Yeah, I had to get a little bit used to the little bit more sheerer and a little bit more washed out formulation of those palettes, but now I really appreciate them. I really love that it's a little bit more of a watercolor effect that you will get with this palette. And I really love the touch and the feeling of those shades, I have to say. They are so creamy, so buttery and so beautiful looking. I think they are really, really special in that sense. And I didn't have those colors until I got this palette. I really didn't have those kinds of shades and I really love it. I think it's such a stunning palette. I was able to create some looks with this palette I think I didn't could have done with other palettes in my collection because of the specialness of it, because of the watercolory effect of this palette. For example, you know those videos from Vogue where stars are breaking down their most famous red carpet looks, and I saw this one recently with Sarah Jessica Parker and I love her so much. In this video she had a really sophisticated green eye look and it looked so stunning and I immediately thought of this palette. I wanted to recreate it. I will insert the picture right here for you, but I really wanted to recreate this look with a palette from my collection and my thoughts immediately went to this one because this is so beautiful, so stunning, so appropriated for those kind of looks and I really appreciate it for that. And yeah, now I really want a little bit more of Dior palettes. I'm really looking forward to it. This won't be my last Dior palette for sure. Right now I'm eyeing this new velvet blue Dior palette that it's on the market right now. Maybe I will do a video with it if I can get my hands on it. But yeah, I really love this palette. I really love the looks that I created with this one and I'm appreciating it more and more and more. And this is a good sign for me. It's better that way than the other way around, if you know what I mean. So yeah, really love this one, really appreciating it and I'm looking forward to do so many more looks with this beautiful, beautiful color story. So the next palette will be a relatively short review because I think I talked really much about this one, and you already know my thoughts about it if you are a little bit around here. So yeah, the next one is from Mcgrath, and it's one of her mothership palettes, her 10-pan mothership palettes, and is the Subversive palette that I got for my birthday. I love it. I love it. I created so many looks with it, and I use it relatively often, more than I thought I would, to be honest. I thought I wouldn't use this that often because of the really intense colors that you have in here, but in fact I'm using it really often, and I love it. It's so sparkly, but you also can go a little bit more neutral with those shades right here, or a little bit smokier, and I don't know, I love this palette really much. It's so beautiful. I created recently a nice, yeah, Easter eggy spring look with those 4 shades with you together, or with those 3 shades more, I would say. And yeah, I'm really in love with this palette. It's so glittery, so sparkly, so special, and I have to say I use it for night outs, but I also use it quite often for my day-to-day life. So I'm not that I'm not limiting myself in that sense, that some colors are just for the night and some colors are just for the daytime. For me personally, I really love to play around with colors, and I don't care if it's day or night time. But yeah, I'm really loving it. It's not that much, but if you are someone who are looking a little bit more around if it is everyday friendly, and if everyday friendly means to you that those are more subdued, more neutral colors, then I think this is not the palette for you. But if you want something for a night out, or if you like me and you don't really care, I can highly recommend this one, guys. I'm really loving it, and I have nothing negative to say about it. Maybe the only thing is that I don't really like this shade right here. It should be a really sparkly shade, but I don't know if I have one that is a little bit drier, because it's feeling really dry and flaky, but not in a really good way to me. It's really not giving me that much, and I think you can see this as well, because it's really dry. It's really, I don't know. I'm never tempted to use this shade right here. Maybe I have a dry one. It could be because I hear such good things about this shade in particular, but yeah, for me it's doing not that much, to be completely honest. But other than that, I really love this palette. I can't look past it because it was a gift, and I'm head over heels with all the colors that are really interesting me, and this is the only shade that is a little bit problematic. But other than that, I really love this palette, and I'm not regretting it a teeniest bit that I wished for this one. So the next palette would be again a Mcgrath palette, and it's the Mcgrath X Bridgerton palette, Diamond of the First Water. And yeah, I really like it. If I have to rank it upon my newest palettes I have, I don't think it would be on the top list, because it don't get me that exciting as the other palettes, but nonetheless I really love it. I love the reds in here. I love this formula very much, and especially this formula is giving the palette a higher ranking. But yeah, I don't think you have a problematic shade in here. I think the palette is very decent. I think I created beautiful looks with this palette, and I especially love this shade right here for an everyday. I love this shade right here for all over my lid, and maybe put a little bit of this glittery taupery shade right here over it and mix it together. Also with this, I think this taupery shade you can really use for every color in here. I think in comparison to my other newer palettes, this isn't the one that gets me the most, that knocks my socks off, to be honest. But it also isn't one that I want to miss in my collection. On the other hand, I really love it. I really use it often, and I think it's a solid palette you can count on. And that's my thought on this one. So the next palette would be my Natasha Denona Circle Loco palette. And I didn't get the chance to use this one as often as I wanted, but I will. I will come to that point where I'm using this one a little bit more often. I used every color in here except for this bluish one right here. I don't know why, but I will use this one, I think, for the next time I will play with this palette. But all in all, I really like this palette. I think I'm so happy I bought it. I'm so happy I bought it over the newest pastel palette that I initially wanted to get. But now I'm really glad I didn't. I'm really glad I bought this one. Those are really colors I don't have in my collection. Those are really colors I want to play right now with. And those are really colors I'm excited for the summer season when it will arrive. And yeah, I really love this one. Especially those, yeah, Snow Cone, Irrealist, and maybe I will also swatch the shade I didn't use because it's so stunning. And I really love those colors. Wow, they are really vibrant, really there. And I don't know, if I'm looking at this palette, I want to play with it right now. And this is telling me that I made the right choice to buy this one over the pastel palette, and I'm really happy about that. The palette is working with ease, to be honest. It's so easy, it's so blendable, so beautiful, and even though it's a really chaotic palette, I think I don't have that many problems to pull a look together with this one. I easily look at it and I want to do so many combinations on my eyes. So in that case, I'm really glad I bought it. I love the looks I created with it, and I am looking really forward to create so many more looks with this one. So the next palette is my Melt Amori Mariposas palette. Firstly, this packaging, I love it so much. This is beautiful. It's reminding me a little bit of a tattoo work that many people got in the beginning of the 2000s. Many people had really big and overloaded tattoos like this one on their body, and this one is really reminding me of that era, and I really somehow love it so much because of that. It's reminding me a little bit of that era, of that time. And if we look at the inside, it's matching perfectly with the outside, with the little butterflies you have in here. And yeah, and about the quality, I love it. To be honest, I don't use this that much in the moment because it's really bright, and I'm right now not that much in the mood for really bright colors, but I really want to dig again into it. I really want to do a simple eye look with a little pop of color maybe on my lower lash line, and those are the kinds of looks that I really enjoy right now. So I really want to do that with this palette. I think this is perfect, but because you not just have those, yeah, flashy rows, you also have a really neutral row with which you can do a really nice neutral eyelid look, and then you can use any color of here and pop it on your lower lash line and make it a little bit more interesting that way. And I really want to use it next time, I think, in that direction, and I'm really excited about that. And especially those two shades right here, this really bronzy shade and this orangey shade, I think they are so beautiful looking on the eyes. And yeah, you can go in so many directions with this palette, and I don't have anything negative again to say about it. I don't use it that often to can talk that negatively anyways about it, but what I've done until now with this palette, and I used, I think, the most of the colors, and I didn't had a problem. I really had my fun with this palette. I think the only color I didn't use, or the only two colors, are those two right here, because they are a little bit darker and they're reminding me a little bit more of, yeah, fall time. But any other color I think I used in this palette, and I really enjoyed my time with this one, and I will continue to enjoy my time with it. So really love it. If you love bold eye makeup, but you are aware of the fact that those colors are really, you have to work a little bit with them, you have to be really light-handed with them to build the color payoff maybe a little bit more up, and don't try to get it right away because it's there. You will get so much color payoff, and maybe you will get too much on your lid in the end. So be aware of that and build it slowly up, and then I think you won't have a problem with those colors. and I really love them, and it will be worth it in the end, trust me. It's so beautiful and so stunning, and this is a really nice, beautiful palette from Mel. And the next one is the MAC XL or Lisa eyeshadow palette. It's this one. I really love this lilac shimmery packaging, and it have a really nice smooth touch to it, so I'm really enjoying that. And the inside is also so beautiful. The mirror is really big and nice. I can see everything so clear, and I really love those colors. This is my first Melt palette that I ever got for myself, and I played for that the first time with Melt eyeshadows, and I have to say I'm really impressed. They are blending out with ease, and they're so stunning, so beautiful, so easy to work with. They are blending out so nicely, and I think I have a palette, because it's from Lisa, that it's a little bit more shimmery than the palettes are normally from MAC, at least what I saw when I looked at the palettes that MAC are presenting. I think they're mostly not that shimmery, and yeah, nothing bad to say about this palette. I really love it. I got my hands on this one when I browsed around eBay, and I found it, and I was really happy about that. And yeah, I really love it. They are really shimmery, really stunning, but my swatches are really bad right now, I'm sorry. But yeah, I really love it. I think they're really beautiful. The only thing I would say, I have the feeling those are shades that are prone to get fast hard panning, and I hope I can avoid it somehow, but I think it won't be that easy. Let me try to swatch the shades again a little bit nicer for you. So here you go. These are some shades from the palette, and I really love it, especially this glittery lilac-y bluish one and this brownish one. I really love the tone of this one. But all in all, I think every color in here is so beautiful, so stunning, and very everyday friendly. And therefore I'm really appreciating this one. Very everyday friendly, but at the same time very yeah, glittery, shimmery, wet looking effect that you get out of here. So on the one hand, it's very everyday friendly and very neutral, but on the other hand, you have a nice pop of color or a nice interesting switch to your look at the end when you're using this one, and I'm really appreciating this for that reason. But like I said, I hope I won't get hard panning in here. It's looking a little bit like it, especially this lilac-y bluish shade. It's looking like that it will start a little bit to get a hard pan, but yeah, I hope I can avoid it. But all in all, I really love this palette. I really enjoyed the looks. I did 2 looks and not that much more, sadly, because I bought so many new palettes, and it's yeah, hard sometimes to decide which one I want to use, but I will use it in the next couple of days, I think. I really want to dig in this again, but the 2 looks I did, the one with you together and one just for myself to have a little bit fun, I really enjoyed them, I loved them, and I will use this palette again for sure. So we come to the last 2 palettes that you aren't aware of, that you didn't know I have in my collection, because they're relatively new. And you know what, guys, I'm over the low and no buy. Maybe the low buy I try to not buy me so many palettes, but I think the no buy isn't something for me. I thought if I share it with you, I will be a little bit better with that, but I'm a weak human. I tried my best, but I have no willpower. Yeah, the next palette is the Mercury Retrograde palette from Huda Beauty. You know I talk to you very often about this palette, that I really wanted this, and this is for such a long time on my radar now. I think for 2 years now, since the palette is launched. Or is this palette launched for 3 years now? It's been a long time, but I really wanted this one from the beginning, and I never bought it, and now I did it. I saw a good deal, I had some credits left on my Sephora card, and I really wanted this one, and in the end I decided to get this one for me. I played with it just one time because I didn't have the time to do more looks with it, sadly. I really want to. I think this is a beautiful palette. This is the one look I created with this, and I really love that it's so It was so shimmery, so sparkly. And my look also reminded me a little bit of, to be honest, I don't have this palette anymore because I wasn't that tempted by it. But it reminded me also a little bit of the Odin's Eye and Giant Wolf's palette. And yeah, if you have this one, you can easily create, because the palette isn't available anymore. But if you have this one, or you want to get your hands on it, and you also wanted to get the Giant Wolf's palette, I think this is a nice dupe for it. Not color story wise, it's very different, but if you were especially interested in this glittery bluish lilac-y shades, then you can really easily get this similar look on your eye with this palette. I really enjoy it and I want to use this so much more. I really want to try this shade. I think it's looking so beautiful. Let's swatch this one because I'm really interested in how it's looking, because I really want to use this one. And let's swatch also this lilac-y one right here, and this rosy tone. I also didn't use that one. Oh, it's more silvery rosy. Interesting, okay. And let's also swatch this blue one, because this is really, really beautiful. I really enjoy this palette and I want to use it more, for sure. Did I forget something? Oh, this I forgot. It's not in the right order, but it's just for you to see how they're looking and performing. I really love it. This is really interesting. It's the shade Frazzled, this one. This is the one I want to use next time, very, very much. I think this is a really beautiful shade. It has a really interesting base as an undertone. It's really stunning. And yeah, this palette, guys, is everything. It's so sparkly, so beautiful, and this one is giving me so much joy, and I'm so happy I bought it, and I want to use this one so much more. But right now I can say just good things about it. I think in America especially, and on Huda's Beauty website, I don't know if it's right now available, but it was on sale on her website for a really, really good discounted price. So if you really are eyeing this one, I can recommend this to you. It's so stunning, so beautiful, and I will have so much more fun with this one for sure, and I'm not regretting it a little bit that I bought this one. Okay guys, this will be the last palette for today that I bought this year, or that I got this year, or this one I bought for myself. And this will show you how weak I really am. But yeah, this is also the palette I'm wearing on my eyes today, if you are curious, and it's the Gucci palette. I won't even bother to try to pronounce the full name of this palette. Let's just call it the Gucci palette. It's easier that way, trust me. Guys, I love it. I know many people are saying it's not worth it to buy this one, it's not worth it, whatever. For me personally, it was 100% worth it. I love this one so much, and I love the colors. It's the palette, like I told you, I'm wearing on my eyes today. I love it. For this look I was inspired by the new Velvet Dior eyeshadow palette, the blue one, that I also want to get so bad. But I was a little bit inspired with that palette, and I used this bluish shade right here at the outer portion of my lid, and on the inner portion I used this really bubblegummy pink right here, and I topped this bubblegummy pink off with this rosy shade, and the blue one I topped off with this silvery shade. And I repeated this color combo also on my lower lash line to get a nice rounded up look. And I really love it. And yeah, I love this palette, guys. I'm really in love with it. I love the colors. I think they are not too shimmery, but they're shimmery enough to give you an interesting eye look in the end. And they are so beautiful. This really creamy shades down here are so special, so easy to use, and also very, very up my alley. I used now every color in this palette, and I got it for a 20% discount, and I think for that it's really worth it. In my opinion, for me it's really worth it. Everyone has a different opinion on what is worth it, their money, but for me it was really worth it. I really love this palette. I know I will get so much use out of it, and I'm so stunned by those colors. I really love them. They are so buttery, so creamy, so smooth. I used recently this really lilac-y shade right here, this darknish lilac-y tone, and I was really impressed by it. So yeah, I can really recommend this, guys. If you want you can go in so many directions with this palette. You can go really, really light and airy, but you also can go really bold and smoked out with this palette. And those colors are stunning to me. They're really stunning. I really want to play with this palette every day. I have so many new palettes in my collection, but every time I look at them, I just can't see this palette in the moment. And that's also the reason why I have used my Huda Beauty palette just once, because I use this one every day. I love it. I love that it's so simple, so easy, so yeah, neutral and nice looking on the eyes, but with color, if you know what I mean. You have really many beautiful color options, and I combined colors I wouldn't combine before, and this palette is giving me that, you know? This palette is giving me a little bit of an inspirational outlet also, and it's giving me, but it's also giving me a nice time to work with it. It's giving me everything, and I really, really love it. I'm so happy I bought it anyways. I wanted this one so bad, and I think now a half year later I got it for me, and I think this is okay. And yeah, I'm really impressed by those colors. Like I told you, they are not the shimmeriest shimmers of all time. If you want something like Pat McGrath, then get Pat McGrath. But if you are also want something that is a little bit more on the sophisticated side, but also on the same time you can do fun looks with it and really nice, beautiful, interesting color combos, I think this is also a really beautiful palette. But I think this palette is also really nice to do one and done eyeshadow looks. This is also a nice way to use this one, and I also will use it that way. But I think, in my opinion, this is also a really nice palette to play with more colors. I tried recently to do a little bit more colors on the eyelid, to try maybe 5 or something like that. For that, I think the palette is not that, it's not intending to do that. But if you are really pick out 3 colors, 3 to 4, let's say, then you will be good. And I think the palette is also nice to play with more than just one color, in my opinion. I really enjoy my time with it. I have to say this color right here is a little bit drier feeling and more lackluster, you will say. It's a little bit sheerer on your eyes, but I also think there's a time and a place for that. But even though it's feeling a little bit drier, it's performing nicely on the eyelid. And also with this lilac-y shade right here, it's a little bit drier to the touch, but once you apply it, it's looking so beautiful, so stunning. And I think because they are a little bit drier, they're also holding a little bit longer on your eyelids, because I don't have the problem that those shades are creasing very fast on me. They are really long lasting. I can go the whole day with them and they are looking beautiful at the end of the day anyways. So I think therefore it's good that they are a little bit drier, you know, for that purpose. Even though it's not the bad dry feeling, it's the dry feeling that you have at first touching them, but then when you are applying them on the eyes, they are looking beautiful and stunning. I'm sorry that I'm coming that near, but I try to remove the colors from my fingers, and my little towel is right here in front of the camera, so I have to come a little bit closer to you. And yeah, all in all, I really love this palette. I'm so happy that I bought it. I'm really excited to dig into these colors. So it was, I think for me personally, it was a good and positive buying experience. And I am so in love with those colors and so in love with this component. And I think overall the feeling that you get with this palette, it's giving me everything. And I really love it. So guys, I'm really sorry. This was a really rumbly video overall. I hope it made any sense what I said in this video with my palettes. I'm really sorry, I'm today all over the place, but I had so much fun to film this one. I really wanted to show you my palettes. I really wanted to give you a little update about my palettes, what it's good, what it's not so good. But overall, I'm really happy with my purchase choices that I made. last couple of months, and I really love my palettes. I want to continue to use them a little bit more. Yeah, made some more eye looks with them, and I really want to include them in my videos for you guys. So the most of the palettes I showed you are still available. So if you like that, if you want to see them in action a little bit more, because I'm not someone who are showing you the palette once and then never again. I really like to use them a little bit more on my channel, a little bit more often, to give you some inspiration and also to give me some playtime with them. And if it sounds good to you and interesting, I would be really happy if you would subscribe if you didn't have already, and if you give this video a thumbs up. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you have some of those palettes and you pull them out again and play a little bit with them, or you have your eyes for a long time of some of those palettes I showed you today. Then maybe this video gave you a go. And with that being said, guys, I would say we will see each other in my next video, and until then, bye.